as an Asian, you're just told go to tutor, do your homework, be good in school, get good grades, go to university, get a full-time job.
Kimmy Duong, a magnetizing FMG bikini pro, quit her corporate job to live in alignment with her passion as a sports nutritionist and coach.
Whole time I've been like forcing something, when if I just come at it with a place of love and enjoyment and passion, you'll find the right people and you won't have to force them to stay.
Competing
Is going to change your whole life.
Welcome back to the Comp Closet podcast. I'm super excited because I'm here with Kimmy Duong, who is a new FMG bikini pro. She's also an accredited sports nutritionist and an online coach. Kimmy, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Sarah. It's so nice to be here.
It's a pleasure. So let's start at the beginning of your journey. Like, when did you start training and when did you get into competing?
I think I've always been an active kid. I was born in Perth, so I was always outdoors, running around, and always wanted to be one of the boys because I have two older brothers. So like my oldest brother was always into the gym. So I probably started with him. Dad was super fit back in the day. He's got the beer belly now, but we would go on like family holidays and always head to like the hotel gyms. And I think that sparked my love for like training. During high school, we would do like field days to the gyms and all of that. And it was always just really exciting to me. So I think 2013 is probably the official date that I joined a gym. And then I've never looked back. What are we, like 11 years later?
Wow.
So that, in addition to like my partner, he's always been a huge motivator, always been into the gym. Like his friends have always been like that group of guys that take 3 hours at the gym because they're more socializing than training. But it was always nice to be around that.
Yeah, amazing. And what inspired you to step on stage?
To be honest, I was too injured to do a powerlifting meet because I've always been into the strength training side of things, and I wanted so badly to do a powerlifting meet, but I was just riddled with injuries from like a desk job, poor technique and quality. Like, do not look too far back on my training videos, but I still look back to see like how far I've come. And so I thought to myself, why not challenge myself to a bodybuilding competition? And I thought that would be fun, and I have always really valued being the change I wish to see in the world. And I know that like the younger Kimmy would have loved to see an Asian pro in fitness, and to make that a reality now, it like just gives me chills because there's a lot more Asian pros and fitness professionals, but to be one of them is just incredible because you're like, as an Asian, you're just told to sit there, go to tutor, do your homework, be good in school, get good grades, go to university, get a full-time job, have a salary, stay in that job forever, and be successful in that way. Because your parents will always like, whether they know they're doing this or not, they unintentionally compare you, or they just want to say like, oh, my daughter goes to Monash, or my daughter works at a bank, or my son's a doctor, or whatever. And like, it's a sense of pride for them because they've come from nothing. Like my parents literally fled the Vietnam War on a boat at the age of like 13 or 15. And so to them, it comes from a place of love. But to us, growing up in society these days and seeing how other families are raised, you just see like, why can't I have like an unconventional, non-traditional job or career or hobby? Like, I don't want to play piano. And I don't.
Yeah, that's incredible, and definitely leading the way for others, I think. Did you have any resistance at all with your family when you said you wanted to compete?
Good question, because to this very day, I don't think they truly know that I compete. I think ignorance is bliss. Like my parents are so supportive. Don't get me wrong. They will 100% support me in anything that I do, and they're happy as long as I'm happy. And I think after my last comp, I told them I had gone to the Gold Coast to compete, and they've seen me, like when I was growing up, I was always into that like pageant sort of stuff during like our Lunar New Year festivals. I would go up there in my traditional ao dai dress and like try to strut my stuff, but couldn't speak a freaking word of Vietnamese to save my life. And they were like, boo, get off the stage. So I think they've always known that I've had that competitive nature or just wanting to be up on stage like within me. And I showed them like the PG version of my competition and just like here's the formal gown, and they were like super happy. So yeah, I mean, I think that's like advice to competitors. Like sometimes you'll have people in your life, whether it be like your family or your friends, that just don't get it. And it's okay because like they don't have to get it. And unless you're in the fitness space, like we all are here, like you won't understand why you would want to go and train 5 days a week or X amount of steps or weigh everything to the T or, you know, do all the protocols that we have to do to get stage lean. Like some people won't get that and they'll never will. And it's okay because it's not for everyone. And like, you know, imagine like your dad being like, let's go on a boat for 5 hours and I'm going to teach you everything about fishing. You're just going to zone out too. And it's not your interest. So once I realized that the expectations I set on other people who love me and I love as well, like I got rid of that because the only person that signs them up to that expectation is me, not them. I realized that we can all be happy and support each other even if we don't understand that stuff. Because I used to get really butthurt, like when my girlfriends never like commented on my photos or my training videos. Like they don't care about my double bodyweight squat.
Yeah.
They care about the things they care about, but they will still be supportive. So that doesn't have to, like, it doesn't have to be the be all or end all to your relationships or your friendships just because they don't understand competing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if you explain your passion and your reason for competing as well, people kind of get that and they see that you have a drive and you're working towards this big goal and they can kind of understand that, you know, you do have this big goal and you're working so hard to achieve it. And I think people can appreciate that without understanding the sport necessarily.
Yeah, and like it's a feeling. If they can feel that you just talk so passionately about training and doing cardio and loving the whole process, then that's all that matters. Because like I said, my parents are happy for me no matter what if I'm happy. And like if you're grueling through prep and all you do is complain about you have to do this, you have to do that, then they're going to be like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you putting yourself through that hell? But if you go at it from a perspective of I want to have fun, I want to challenge myself, I want to see what that next level looks like, I want to see how much I can evolve and grow, they're going to be magnetized towards that. They're not going to be like you just become magnetizing. And that's like the most beautiful part of my journey is that I've made so many more beautiful friendships that just enrich my life beyond words through this sport because it is what I'm passionate about. And you find like-minded people who you don't have to beg to comment on your photos. They will literally just be there like all the words. Yes, slay queen, love you, babe, like all of those things that they always joke about. They'll be there without you having to try. And then you realize like for this whole time I've been like forcing something when if I just come at it with a place of love and enjoyment and passion, you'll find the right people and you won't have to force them to stay.
Yes, exactly. And how do you think you portray that through your content? Because you're someone that I see as being, you know, very authentic and like you said before, magnetizing in the content that you put out there.
That's so nice. Thank you. Because when I was doing one of the girls' makeup today, she was saying like, it's interesting to see how people are online and how they are in real life. And I asked her, I was like hesitantly like, am I the same? And she's like, you are exactly who I thought you would be. So I think like I try not to force things. I just speak from whatever I'm feeling at the moment. I know we all experience recency bias. So my content sort of goes through those phases, but I try to genuinely show up as someone who I'd be proud of, like looking at it from a third perspective. And so, yeah, like I try never to force anything. I try not to be someone who I'm not because at the end of the day, people feel that disingenuous like energy. And if you are genuine, if you are authentic, then you not only create those friendships, those lifelong friendships and connections, but you maintain them long term. And then you realize all of the doors of opportunity just like bust wide open for you. And that's exactly what's happened to me. Like, I feel like opportunities have just come left, right, and center. And it just makes me so proud because as you said, like I'm now an accredited sports nutritionist and online coach. And I never thought I would have mustered those words. My mom literally took me to NAB with my like monitor that I'd rented. And she was like, why are you taking your monitor back? And I'm like, oh, the rental's done. I wasn't telling her that I was quitting. So like that job that was making me six figures and, you know, my parents were so proud of, like, they're still equally as proud seeing me live my most authentic, passionate life now. And so that shows up on social media, that shows up in the services I provide to my clients and every other realm, like every other friendship. And I think that's like super important to know that your superpower is truly who you are. So you don't need to be anybody else. You don't need to eat the calories that someone else is eating or train the way they're training or shoot with the person they're shooting. You just need to do what feels right for you.
Yeah, incredible. And what advice would you have for someone who's maybe doing something that they don't feel like they fit in, or they don't feel like is in line with their passion, and they want to take the leap into doing something that's more in line with their passion?
Stop doing the thing that doesn't make you happy. Like, honestly, I remember that moment when I was talking to my NAB colleagues and I was bawling my eyes out because I was like, is this the right job? Is this the right move to like quit NAB and move into the coaching space? Because in all honesty, I loved my colleagues. I loved the work that I was doing. I was learning so much. I was making great money. I had great benefits. Like, going on your own is so terrifying. But I remember my colleague Beck telling me, like, Kimmy, it's not risky now. Like, the risk is if you stay here, you keep climbing the corporate ladder and the ranks, and you realize, like, in 20 years' time, why the heck did I not do what I wanted to do when I was younger, when I didn't have kids, when I didn't have a mortgage, when I didn't have all these things that would actually be risky to lose. Like, when you have to feed little things that have come out of you that are like literally looking at you or relying on you. I look at that as my dog. I don't have kids yet, but my dog looks at me and I'm like, Stitch, we're going to have to cut down on your treats because I can't afford them. But like, that is the risk. Like, I say that jokingly because Stitch is a dog and she, doesn't need to go to college and school and all of that. But it is risky when you have all of those other things. So why don't you try it now? And if worse comes to worse, you realize that you don't fail. You only learn the things that you don't want to do. Like, a fast no is way better than a prolonged, like, oh, it's okay. Like, do we want okay or do we want an extraordinary life?
Yeah, incredible. And do you feel like competing has changed your life outside of kind of the fitness world?
It's definitely opened my mind up to the potential that a lot of people have within themselves that are maybe reluctant to explore and discover. And so not that competing has changed my life, because in all honesty, like, yes, I'm a bikini pro and I'm so proud to say that, but like, bodybuilding is not my identity, and it has enriched who I am as a coach, as a person, as a sports nutritionist, and all of that stuff, because it gives me perspective. Every single thing that I've ever done, every job that I've ever had, every friendship I've ever gone through and has ended or is still going, has all taught me so much. And like, once you start drawing those patterns and connecting the dots, you'll be able to see that like, you become more wholesome as a person. Whereas like, if you are so like narrow-minded one way, you're never going to grow. And you're not going to be magnetizing. You're not going to see those opportunities that come at you to grow and expand and stuff. So it has enriched my life in a different way, and like, of course, like, the friendships I've made have like just been incredible as a result of it. And I'll forever be grateful for the friendships I forged through competing. But I think like that would be another piece of advice to new competitors, is that you are so much more than just a competitor, and you get to be multifaceted. I used to think I was like, something was wrong with me for like wanting to do all these different things, like banking, like marketing, like hair and makeup, like all of the different aliases of Kimmy. There are, like, if you search my name on Instagram, I've got 4 different Instagram pages, but that gets to be okay. You can be multifaceted. You can be complex. You can have layers to you, because it makes you interesting. And it makes you you. And I'm not saying that you all need to go out and like have 7 different jobs. Like, be passionate about whatever you do.
Yeah, incredible. I love that advice. And it all, as you said, comes down to passion. Who has been the biggest influence for you on this journey?
Of like competing or
life or business, anything. Just who's the first person that pops into your head?
Honestly, my parents, because they just work so hard. Like, they have the hardest, most solid work ethic in whatever they do. Like, I'm pretty sure my dad knows how to build a whole house and he has no building license whatsoever. And like, there are sometimes he has like some dodgy like setups and scaffolding situations going on, but he just always looks at a problem and he's like, it's all good, we'll figure it out. And I feel like adopting that mindset of there are so many problems that get to be solved is exciting, versus there's so many problems that I have. Like, I am, complain, victim mindset. He's never been like that. He's literally forged us a life in Australia and his whole family by just having that mindset. So when it comes to like life and even competing and all of the curveballs that inevitably get thrown your way because there will be so many that come, even if it's as small as like a parking fine or having to pay $60 extra for being 700 grams over your luggage. It's all part of the experience, and like how you accept that and how you shift your perspective from that victim mindset to being like, all right, something else is going to happen, or I can fix this, or it's not a big deal, like whatever, let it go. Like that from my parents has been invaluable.
Yeah, incredible. And speaking of mindset as well, because I've been following you for a while, so I saw you throughout COVID, like training, and you just kept going, and you were one of the most positive people that I probably saw online during that period. How did you stay so positive and just keep going and keep pushing through?
Yeah, well, now I'm in Melbourne, and as we know, like Melbourne had the harshest lockdown of all of the states. So there was probably a level of delulu that was getting me through. But in all honesty, I've always been more of a homebody. I used to call myself an introvert, and you may not think that because every time I'd say that out loud, everyone's like, no, you're not an introvert. But truly, like, I'm a homebody. I love being at home. I love being with my partner and my dog and just sitting there watching movies and like mellowing out. I do love the social aspect of what I've grown into as a pro and as a competitor and as a coach. And, you know, realizing that those friendships that you create are opportunities for you to expand. And so now probably I'm more ambivert, but in lockdown, being introverted and a homebody was like, great. I get to work from home. I don't have to travel. I don't have to go into the office and wear office clothes. I can just sit in active wear all day and it be incredible. But yeah, like I think for myself, and everybody's different, right? There are people that love and thrive in like a packed gym and hearing people grunt and like cheer you on and slap you on the back and all of that stuff. But for me, like I will put Whitney Houston on or like some piano music and like hit a PB. Like I am okay being by myself, and that's why I loved the home gym, and that's why I'm not out of the home gym and we just keep adding to it and building towards it. So having that normality was definitely helpful, and I'm so grateful that I was able to afford a home gym during that time and even secure the pieces, because it was like the most impressive artist was coming into town and there was like no tickets available. That's how it felt buying some of the equipment. So yeah, I feel like just having that routine was really helpful, and being able to then film without feeling pressured of, you know, the gym anxiety and all of the people staring at you and walking through your video, filming in the angles that I wanted to, and being able to share that content and finally be like, okay, I can find my voice and I can find my confidence in posting that stuff, because that really propelled from that very moment. So I'm forever grateful for COVID, as hard as that is with everything that happened and all the people we lost and the health crisis as a result of it. It did open up so many doors for me. And again, like you can like be on autopilot and let life, you know, fly by and you have no control over anything, or you can actually take control and make something of yourself and rewrite your story.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Can you walk me through like your shows post-COVID, where you competed, what your placings were, and up to your journey where you came pro?
This is a great question. I was just talking to my friends about this morning, because I know there are a lot of young girls and guys competing, and, you know, it's your first show. You so badly want to win. And sometimes you have that thing that you win straight away, and it's once in a while that happens, and it does happen, right? So it can happen, and it shows that, you know, there's an opportunity for that. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to get back up there again and again and again, make those refinements, mature in the gym, mature in your nutritional literacy and your mindset towards competing, and build muscle. Like that takes longer and is painfully slow, but it's required. It's part of your story. And so the first comp was exactly that. I was like, 13 weeks, I'm gonna win. I like honestly thought, this is the funniest part, when the wellness category got announced, I was like, oh my gosh, my thighs are big, I could do wellness. Now I look back and just realize how delusional I was, but you have to go through those phases. It's like going through the ugly brow phase as like a teenage girl. Like the kids these days, they have beautiful laminated brows and like their makeup's on fleek. Like where was the bright red lip and the powdery under eyes that had flashback when you took a photo at the club? Like where was that? And that's the same thing with competing. So I placed 4th in my first ever bikini comp. That was with Taylor Hicks, Kayla Ether, and Caitlin Sims, and we're all now pros. And I absolutely like loved coming forth to those girls because they had incredible physiques, and I was not afraid to admit that. Like, I looked at myself and I was like, I had no glutes. Like, I LMAO'd too hard and my glutes were gone. But that then allowed me to go back to the drawing board, go back and revisit my training, realizing that it took a little bit longer to build muscle and refine all of that stuff. You like get the feedback from the judges, which I'm so grateful for. Pauline and the team do that like on their own time. And so we're really lucky to have had that, because I know in America it's not that way. And so I got the feedback. I went back to the drawing board. My second WBFF comp, which was also, I've only ever competed in the Gold Coast. So this is exciting to be backstage for Sydney, because I'll finally get to see what the ICC looks like. But the Gold Coast has a special place in my heart, and I loved competing there because of, you know, growing up around the beach and in Perth and stuff. So very much was more aligned to like the Gold Coast and the weather there. And so the second time I competed, my mindset was like, okay, I've come fourth. It's 3 or better. There is no other way this could go. It's 3 or better, right? And then I didn't get called out, and my heart sunk. I just remember seeing the audience. My boyfriend was the only person in the crowd. He had his phone up, and then it slowly went down as I didn't get called. And I was just like, Kimmy, what the heck? In my heart, I was like, I was heartbroken. And then I look back at the performance. I look back at, you know, the top 3, and all of those girls deserve to be there. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no resentment to any of those girls. It just meant that it wasn't my time and there was more that I could do. And that then propelled me to even like another level of awareness and consciousness and growth. And I'm forever grateful from that. So I placed fourth again. And then my last comp, I won. So 4-4-1. And I just remember this time, it was so funny. I had more people in the crowd, because like the more you do it, the more people, like you forge those friendships. There's more people you know. Your family can come, and you know, my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law and our niece and all of that were there. So there was like 4 phones now lined up right in front of me. And I was like, please don't let this happen again. But I knew in my heart that I had already won, because I had put in so much work. My mindset was so different that last prep. When they say like I left no stone unturned, I really took that to the next level. I was thinking about the energy I wanted to bring. I did mindset work with Tess trainer. I was posing with Maheen and the IPA girls. Like, they took my flow to the next level. I worked with Stepanka with my bikini. It was like a Kim Possible Shigo inspired bikini, something completely different. I wanted to wow the judges and the audience and myself with something that has never happened before. And I wasn't going to settle for, you know, a stock standard bikini. And no, I love the notion of the comp closet and being able to sell and buy secondhand, because some of these bikinis are epic and they deserve a second chance on stage. And so my white bikini is going up again this show, so I'll be so excited to see it. But the fact that, you know, I was able to bring a whole completely different package in that time, because I had taken a longer off season again, because I was like, ain't no way I'm doing fourth again or not winning this next time. And even if I didn't win, like, you know, maybe a placing, but I couldn't let myself go up there with knowing that I hadn't done the work. And so deep in your heart, if you know you haven't done the work, if you know you are not ready, or even if that's like a subconscious thought, it's there, it shows up. It shows on stage. And my boyfriend, who knows absolutely nothing about competing, he's just there to support me. He loves the gym, but he's not really into like the bodybuilding. He can even see that stuff. Like, so my last comp where I just like, I think I was just floating on stage. I was like, oh. I had the best time. And so like those 4 phones stayed up when I won. And I actually cried after the morning show, because the bikini girls go on high order, right? And so I was short. And so I was first on, first off, first back into the room by myself. I looked to myself in the mirror, and because it was like the most challenging prep of my life, given, you know, work changes, starting my business, relationships that didn't end up doing too well, it was like that moment of defiance of like, I have overcome everything, every adversity. I am on the top of the mountain. I looked at myself in the mirror and I started doing the Kim K ugly cry, like the, like that. And I literally have a video of me doing it as well. I'm like, why are you even filming this? But I look back at that and I'm like, I had already won in that moment. Like, even if I didn't come first, I had already won in that moment, because that was the best I've ever looked, felt. And internally, I just knew that I had done everything to make myself proud, to make little Kimmy proud. And so, yeah, came out of that room, saw my boyfriend, cried, saw my sister, cried, saw my Nutrition Capital friends, I cried. I saw Kayla, I cried so much. I had to like run back to my hotel, fix my makeup, and then come back for the night show. But it was honestly like, it was such a surreal moment. Like, the people that get really down about their placings and things like that, just know that with healing, with time, with becoming resilient and doing the work, putting in the effort, putting in the hours, you'll get to look back at that time that you were like, I'm so upset that I didn't win. And you'll be like, I'm so glad I didn't win.
Yeah.
Because now it enriches my story.
Yeah, exactly. And it's having that growth mindset, isn't it? Especially when you get a placing that you're not necessarily expecting. It's growing from that and growing from the feedback as well.
Yeah.
How did it feel? Like, describe the moment that they actually called out that you had won and that you were a pro and you had, you know, those 4 phones lined up looking at you.
Like, I almost didn't hear the number, because the MC was commentating, like, he would either say 162 or 162. So sometimes he would switch it up. He really made you like stay woke and like be on your toes. So when I like finally heard it and someone like pat me on the shoulder being like you won, I was like, oh my gosh. It felt surreal, but I didn't cry in that moment, because I had already felt like a winner. And so if you face all of the things that you're thinking about, that maybe you're not good enough, or you haven't done the work, or, you know, what about this person, what about that person, and actually becoming more like in control with yourself and focusing on yourself, you realize that you're invincible. And that's what I wanted to go on stage with, that undeniable, unbeatable mindset. Like, the package is a byproduct of that, right? Like, if you're the type of person, as I said, if it's conscious or subconscious and you think that you're not going to win, or you think you're not good enough, that shows. And it's okay, because I've been like that. It shows it's okay. It's part of your story. Own it. Like, you can go for the experience. That's perfectly fine. But if you want to become a pro in this federation, you need to be a good role model. And that comes from facing your darknesses and demons and shadows and all of that, to be able to shine and forge the way for the next gen of people that become pros.
It really is the whole journey.
Yeah.
How do you measure success? Like, what does that look like for you?
Oh, good question. I would say success is measured by the quality of the relationship you have with yourself, and therefore the quality of the relationships you have with others. Because if you have a solid relationship with yourself, if you are so self-assured, if you have the ultimate level of self-trust, and you back yourself beyond anyone and any external validation you could ever get, that is ultimate success. If you can go to bed at night and you're happy with who you are and who you look at in the mirror, then that is successful. Because no amount of pro cards or number 1 trophies or money or anything like that is going to deem you as successful if you are not happy within your heart. Like, it shows and it bleeds in your relationship. So if you're not happy, your relationships are going to suffer. Your friendships are going to suffer. Your family life's going to suffer. Your work relationships are going to suffer. You're going to be miserable. You're going to be resentful of everyone around you if you don't really focus on the one person you're always going to be with, and that's yourself. So yeah, like, you have to, they say it, like, you have to clap the loudest for yourself, because so many people see this sport and they see how like almost superficial it can be, like with the photo shoots and the hair and the makeup and the comp and the glam and the glitz and all of that stuff, and they're like, I want that. And subconsciously you're probably also wanting the external validation, like people commenting and being like, you look amazing, you're gonna win, you're this, you're that, you're incredible, whatever. And you get that as a byproduct of knowing you've done all of the things to do it, but it doesn't mean that is your win, that is your success. And you can't hang on for that stuff, because when the show finishes and everyone goes back to normal life and you forget about that whole comp thing, because time passes and, you know, new memories are created. But if you can't expect people to be always remembering like, oh my God, like Sarah, you did so amazing on your comp. No, they're going to think about what's happening right now. But if you think back and you're like, I can't believe I did that and I won, that is success.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. What do you think are the biggest misconceptions that people have about competing and bodybuilding as a sport?
That it's going to be the thing that saves you and makes you happy because of all of the things I just said. Like, people do go into it seeing whatever's shown on social media, and we know that social media is a highlight reel, and sometimes you have competitors that show you the flip side of, or the reality of prep, like the hard times, the times that they're crying, the times that they're struggling. But that's not what you always see. And it's probably like a 95% split of the good versus the bad. And so people look at that thinking like it's going to make them happy. They're going to make all these friendships. They're going to be so successful. They're going to have all of this fandom because of it. They're going to be famous. They're going to like get all these followers, but all of those are vanity metrics. And so, yeah, like that is probably the biggest misconception, that being associated with a bodybuilding competition or even being a pro in that federation is going to change your whole life. Like, you change your life, not the federation. It just adds value. And that's what I want people to think about. Like, in anything they do, in any friendships they pursue, any relationships they pursue, any work opportunities, any whatever, that it needs to enrich your life. It needs to add value to your life, because you are already amazing as you are. You are enough. Everything else is just a happy byproduct. And you can't force anything to happen, because the more you force things, the more things get repelled.
Yes, I love that. You gave me goosebumps saying that.
I should be a motivational speaker.
You should. So what's next for you? Like, what are you looking to achieve from competing?
Again, like, competing has enriched my coaching and my business. And not that I advertise myself as a comp prep coach or anything like that. I just want to have clients that have that same mindset of wanting to discover this next level of themselves, like discover within who they can truly be and how happy they can be. And happiness is not only like your physique, it's how strong you are in the gym, how healthy you are. Like, can you actually get out of bed and not feel drained and fatigued all the time? Like, do you have sustained energy? Are your biofeedback markers good? And so this year I've committed a whole year of competing, because I've been competing 3 years back to back, and I've got to practice what I preach. And I know that going up against the bikini pros is no easy feat. So I want to continue to build muscle for myself, but ultimately my focus is to build duo and pour back into my amazing athletes, what they pour into me as their coach. I'm so grateful for the clients that I have. They are incredible. They inspire me every single day. And it's funny because, yeah, I think they've come to me because they're inspired by me and my journey, or word of mouth and what other clients have achieved. But they truly, truly inspire me from like the bottom of my heart. I get so happy doing check-ins and seeing them become the best version of themselves. And like, as cliche and corny as that terminology is, it's 100% true, because this is like, I get to make a living out of people exercising and eating good food. Like, how bizarre is that? You know, it's not doom and gloom and corporate concrete walls.
Yeah, incredible. You're actually changing people's lives like through your passion, really.
Yeah.
So what advice would you have for someone who wants to compete but they're just too scared, like they don't have the confidence?
Get a good coach. Like, it's hard to sit here and say, like, you have to build that self-trust and all of that. I think that comes through experiences, and sometimes you just need that nudge and that direction and that guidance from someone who truly knows what they're talking about. And there are a lot of people that do not know what they're talking about in this industry. And it frustrates me, the amount of people that are not only putting their business at risk, because you could be sued and liable if something goes wrong, but they are practicing out of their scope, and that is endangering people's health. And you're not coaching robots, you're coaching humans with real lives and real repercussions if you don't do things right. So I encourage people to just research, have have experiences with different coaches. You know, you might find someone that really gels with you, and like there are good coaches and they might not gel with you. Like fit goes both ways. You need to find someone that is able to give you that tough love, but also allow you to grow and have that nurturing capability. And so having someone you can fully trust allows you to then like reverse that and be like, now I can trust myself because I'm making a good decision of who I'm getting coached by, and the plan is working because I execute the plan, not my coach. Like, so the coach does give you the blueprint, but at the end of the day, it's up to you. You are the only person who knows if you have done the thing, have you dotted your I's, crossed your T's or not. And so building that trust through like a coaching connection, because that is so important. And then, yeah, in turn, building that trust within yourself. Because, fun fact, I don't know if you know this, but I actually coached myself in my last comp.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How was that?
Challenging. And I would not recommend it for the majority of people, but obviously I'm a coach myself and I built that self-trust. So, like, it's one of those things that, you know, I don't have to be advertising this up on every mountain being like, you can do it all by yourself, because the reality of it is sometimes you do need that outsider perspective. But it just goes to show that if you go at it long enough, if you make the right decisions, if you back yourself, if you invest in the right education, and yeah, you can flourish. You can do anything you put your mind to.
Did you have any moments during that prep when you were coaching yourself that were really tough, and how did you push through that?
Masked it. My coping mechanism is masking and doing all the things. So I'm so lucky. As I said, this is my third prep and I've built so many amazing relationships and friendships with not only other competitors, but other coaches who helped like bounce ideas off, like soundboarded some of the things that I was thinking about. So even though I say I'm self-coached, I definitely had the support of so many amazing people. But yes, I definitely masked it with like dance classes, with boxing, with going on extended walks with Stitch, which she was not complaining about. Trying to keep myself busy, I think, which probably wasn't the healthiest way about doing it. And that's why I don't really like advertise this stuff, because I mean, competing in itself is like the extreme. You know, it's like it's the most extreme thing you can do. It should not be taken lightly. If you are going to do it, there is so much sacrifice that you have to accept and embrace. Not only financial, not only some friendships that have to be put on pause, you know, social events that have to be put on pause or diarise to a later date, like just all of it, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all of the leads. Like, it requires sacrifice, and the tough make it out, and the people that need to go back to the drawing board sometimes don't make it to stage, or they make it to stage and they need a little bit more healing after it.
Yeah, I think that level of sacrifice is something that people don't understand until they actually go through a prep and understand that. And that's why you need to have such a strong why and such, you know, that intrinsic motivation to really keep you going and pushing through those hard times.
Yeah, like how did you go through a back-to-back prep and even competing in America with, like, you know, we all know like the costs of competing in America, like that level of sacrifice is admirable. Do you know what I mean? Like, how did you get through that?
I think it did just come back to that strong why. Like, I did 3 back-to-back preps, and obviously we worked really hard to keep my health in a good place, and I went through short little build phases in between, and each prep got shorter and shorter because I was leaner. But whenever I had a tough day or it was hard, I would just think about, you know, just constantly improving myself, and it really did come down to that. It was beating my last package, and that was my main goal really, and everything else was just a bonus.
Yeah. I love that because, like, it is, you know, it honestly breaks my heart to hear some of the girls' experiences with worlds and things like that, and how much money they spent on it. Because, I mean, money will always come back, but even still, like, that is a lot of things on pause. You know, it could be a mortgage, it could be the car you want, it could be the holiday you want. And it's not just you, it's your relationships. Like, your partner then has to come with you on that holiday or wherever you're going interstate. And so, yeah, I'm so proud of you for doing that back to back to back. And I just remember, like, Sydney, when it was back in Chatswood, me and Jess Wong was sitting there in the crowd being like, Sarah, like screaming for you. So it makes me so happy to see that you went on and won.
Oh, thank
your
you.
comp.
What's the best advice you've ever received?
The best advice I've ever received. Do you know I heard this like question on like the Jay Shetty podcast like time and time again, like
That's
the
where I
fast
heard it.
five, the fast five, and I was like, what would be the best advice I've ever received? I don't really know. Like, it's never just one piece of advice. I think that's my answer. It's never one piece of advice. It's all of the things I've said. It's focusing on yourself. It's prioritizing the personal growth. It's being uncomfortable with being comfortable. It's probably my NAB worker being like, the risk is when you have kids, Kimmy. Like, do it now. Just do it now. I have been loving the biomechanics course that I've been doing with Prescript, and Jordan Shallow is just an incredible person, and his advice was move fast, break shit, and just keep going. Like, just not in those words. He did not say it as horribly as I just did, but essentially, like, run into the fire, like, learn as much as you can, experience as much as you can. This is why I love travel. I love seeing people travel because they get to see different perspectives and they get to realign themselves when they get back home. And maybe there's gratitude that comes from that. Like, you know, maybe you've gone to a third world country and you haven't seen like the most amazing, you know, there are a lot of people that are very much less fortunate than us. Even coming back home to Melbourne makes me so happy because I'm like, Melbourne water is just incredible. Like, I just love drinking it. We're so lucky. Like, all of that stuff. Coffee is amazing, but it just enriches you. And it teaches you what you want, what you don't want. And once you have that level of self-assurance of this is what I want versus like, oh, this is what Sarah wants or this is what Sarah likes. Mm-hmm. Like, that is when you become unstoppable. You become so confident within yourself, and that confidence is like, it radiates.
It really does. I couldn't have said that better.
Yeah.
So we do have a few questions from the listeners.
Really?
We do.
Where did we ask these questions?
On Instagram. Yeah, we put a question box up.
No way.
A few days ago on the Comp Closet Instagram. So how do you recover your body during prep?
I cannot say this enough. Like, I'll scream it. Sleep. Like, people underestimate the amount of sleep is required to just help you maintain, like, maximizing your health. I am the sleep police to my athletes and my clients. There's nothing that beats a good quality 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Even if you can't get 7 hours, like, whatever you're at the moment, try to micro improve on that. Like, little by little, it becomes a lot. It snowballs. And I know there's probably a lot of people like, Kimmy, I'm a mum of 2 kids, or I'm a shift worker. Well, there's always things that you can do. And, you know, with the sleep you do get, are you trying to optimize that? Are you trying to make sure that your environment is dark, cool, quiet? Are you doom scrolling on Instagram or TikTok hours before? Are you watching scary movies? Because I'll be thinking about that stuff through my nightmares if I watch a scary movie before bed. So sleep, 100%. Again and again, time and time again. You'll ask me in 10 years and I'll say the exact same thing. But there's always other things that I do to help with my recovery. So I love infrared sauna just for habit stacking, like a podcast and being able to like sweat it out. I love, you know, a little bit of breath work in the morning, maybe some mindfulness, meditation or podcast. Like, nothing beats giving my dog the biggest hug. Like, I have cuteness aggression with her. She's a German Shepherd Roddy. Have you seen Stitch?
She's so cute.
She's massive, right? And like, I can't imagine having a small dog because I would strangle them. But I just like give her like the biggest headlock and hug, and that is recovery to me. So if you have pets, if you have that one person that you feel like home and safe with, that's recovery. Like, make sure you realize and recognize those areas of where you actually recover, because it looks different to everybody. But the one thing that looks the same to everybody, no matter if you're a human or you're a dog, sleep.
I couldn't agree more. I'm pretty obsessed with sleep as well myself, just seeing the positive impact that it has when you do start prioritizing it. Like, I check my sleep score every morning.
Love that.
I do everything I can to improve my
ring?
sleep. I've just got the Fitbit.
Oh yeah, and I've got an Apple Watch, but whatever modality, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what are your top 3 tips for someone that's struggling with sleep?
First things first is, again, like, try not to put that pressure on yourself to go from 0 to 100 real quick. If you sleep 5 hours at the moment, aim for 6. If you sleep 7 hours, aim for 8. Like, little by little, it becomes a lot. Your pre-bed, like the wind down routine, is really important. So I just like did some education with my clients on shift workers and how challenging that can be, but utilizing things to your advantage, like blue light, like glasses, or the night mode on your iPhone, or yeah, just like dimming the lights at home and not being so like highly stimulated. Don't drink too much coffee, like that kind of stuff. But yeah, the pre-bed routine, super important. Not putting too much pressure on yourself, very important. And then ultimately, like I said, optimize your sleep routine. Like, even if you're the type of person that wakes up during sleep, there's ways that you can get back to sleep quite easily. And this is actually what prep taught me, because there was one time I woke up super early and I was like, I need to go back to sleep. And I just couldn't stop thinking about comp, and I was so excited. I actually had a free trial for Apple Fitness, and there was like meditation on it. So I put my headphones in, and it was just like some guy talking to me, and immediately I fell asleep because I was no longer thinking about those thoughts that I was reoccurring thoughts and repetitive thoughts in my head. Started listening to this guy and went out like a light straight away. So something like that, even like not forcing yourself to go back to sleep, getting out of the room, reading a book, going back when you're sleepy. But yeah, like just try to optimize your sleep routine. Make sure it's dark, make sure it's cool, make sure it's quiet. Get a weighted eye mask if you need. If you have lash extensions, one of my clients told me there's like this contoured eye mask, which is like a little raised. So if you have lash extensions, there's no excuse. And then like the loop earbuds, just chuck those in. They're from Amazon. They're super cheap. It helps.
Yeah,
they never end up in my ears. Like by the time I wake up, I must be like subconsciously. But it works.
Yeah. That sleep routine is so important. It's something you can kind of build on over time as well. And I think your body recognizes once you have that routine. Like even when I go away from home, I'll still have a similar routine. Like I'll have my shower, and then I'll kind of put my phone away, and then I'll put my sleep music on. And I think your body just identifies that, it's time to sleep now, and it gets used to that routine. So that is so important. Yeah,
routine is so important. Like just the way that our circadian rhythm works, and recognizing that your sleep starts from the minute you wake up, and like, the morning sunlight. Or I know people like, don't have coffee 90 minutes as you wake up, but like having that energy actually helps. So, I mean, stimulants and supplements are probably like the last thing you should be thinking about, but obviously not stimulating too late, not having a pre-workout at 6 p.m. at night and trying to go to bed at 8 p.m. Like there is non-stim pre's for that. Just, try your best. And I'm a big coffee snob, but like decaf in the afternoon. Like you don't have to be caffeinated and wired to the brim when you're trying to get good quality sleep.
Yeah, exactly. And final question, how do you deal with self-image issues?
They're going to happen. In a sport where you're judged on your physique, it is going to happen. You are going to have a level of body dysmorphia, but it happens in levels, right? But the acceptance and the acknowledgement and the embracing of the fact that, okay, I may feel like this, I'm going to be aware of that. Here's what I'm going to do if I recognize myself falling into that trap of body dysmorphia that's really unhealthy, and here's how I'll snap out of it. Like have a plan. This is why reverse dieting is important, or like having a post-diet plan. It's important that you also check on your mindset, because like your body's going to change. You're going to gain kilos. It is where the magic happens. And being able to shift your mindset from, oh my gosh, I'm now 55 kilos and I'm not 47 or whatever you are on stage. Like just realizing that you're not going to be able to sustain a competition prep. Again, it's an extreme sport and people aren't peaking forever. So if you go in it wanting to sustain that physique because you see this genetic freak on Instagram having abs year round, then you're probably in for a little bit of a shock. So building that awareness, like self-awareness is so underrated. If you are conscious to the thoughts that you're having, whether productive or unproductive, that is how you grow. And so to say that, just ignore the body dysmorphia is just so unrealistic. It's going to happen. But the degree at which it happens and the degree to which you let it impact your life and affect your mindset is up to you. That is on you. Go speak to a therapist if you need to. Like as a coach, I do not want to practice out of my scope. And if I see disordered eating or body dysmorphia or any body image related issues, go seek professional help. Don't be afraid to do that. Like there's Medicare and you have support from like your GP and the healthcare system in Australia to be able to do so. Like you're not going to go to a Brazilian jiu-jitsu specialist and want them to teach you like ballet and be a ballerina. So why would you go to a coach thinking they're going to save you from your body dysmorphia thoughts and things like that? So make sure you're getting the right help. And again, this comes back to like the guidance on how to get started as a competitor. If you're a bit scared, find the right coach. But then, after the fact, and if there's other issues that are underlying, because you quickly realize like how interconnected everything is in your world. You realize like that issue you had with that girl in high school is coming up now in your prep, and like all of this stuff. It's things you have to like work through. We're complex humans and we get to be that way, but it doesn't mean that we're stuck. It means we have an opportunity to identify an area of weakness and make it a strength. Overcome it. Be the type of person that wants to attack your problems and solve them versus play the victim mindset and look to everybody else but yourself as the problem.
I absolutely love that. I think that is definitely incredible advice that every competitor needs to hear.
Go see a therapist.
Yeah.
You need help. No.
Where can people find you if they want to follow your journey and get some motivation as well? Because I feel like you need to be doing motivational speaking.
That is so funny. Oh my God, I said that as a joke. Instagram, like Kimmy_Duong is my personal Instagram. Coach Kimmy Duong is my coaching Instagram if you want to work with me. Makeup by Kimmy Duong is if you want to get glam with me. So I do hair and makeup. I do a lot of bridal clients and I absolutely love that because I get to be part of someone's special day. And even like the comp makeup that I get to do for the girls is just that time you get to really learn more about them, which I'm so grateful for. So that's where you can find me. Just reach out if you have any questions. I am an open book. I'm always there to help people. I just want to like genuinely know that I'm going to be the type of support of someone who I wanted. Like, I don't think I'm very intimidating. So if you think I'm intimidating, please just message me because I'm not.
Yeah, amazing. And does Stitch have an Instagram as well?
We actually used to have a Lilo to the Stitch. So Lilo passed away from old age. She was a beautiful Rottweiler Bull Mastiff. Big bear, like a giant bear, definitely overweight. So she's passed, and Stitch is a German Shepherd Rottweiler, and they had an Instagram called Lilo and Stitch. So I've kind of stopped using it since Lilo's not here with us anymore. But you'll see Stitch all across my Instagrams. Like, I'm shoving Stitch in your face. She's just a happy dog. She's so happy. She's taught me so much.
Yeah, I'm here for that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I think this was a really incredible episode.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I hope it's good. I hope people want to listen to this.
Yeah, no, I love it. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. If you like this episode, please like and follow on Spotify so that we can keep getting more incredible guests on.